Hello viewers, my obeisance to all of you. In this video, I am going to talk about the poem Fable by Ralph Waldo Emerson. This poem has been included in the English syllabus of class 10 of the West Bengal board. Before diving into the topic, if you like the video, please do subscribe to my channel and share it with those who may need it. At first, let me tell you something about the author and the text. Ralph Waldo Emerson was born in 1803 and died in 1882. Was an American essayist. An essayist is a person who writes mainly essays. Lecturer. A lecturer is a person who gives lectures, especially as a profession. And poet, one who writes poems. His notable works are Concord Hymn and Brahma. This particular poem mainly deals with a witty debate between a squirrel and a mountain. In this poem, we'll come to know that the squirrel is small in size. On the other hand, the mountain is big in size. Okay? Therefore, the squirrel clearly asserts or mentions that no matter what the size or strength of a living or non-living entity is, every living or non-living entity has a valid reason to exist. Therefore, diversity and mutual respect are essential, indispensable to complete a whole year and a complete universe. Now, let me explain the poem line by line. The first line of the poem is, "The mountain and the squirrel had a quarrel." At the very beginning of the poem, we see that there was a verbal debate or quarrel between the squirrel and the mountain. It means that the squirrel and the mountain fell out with each other. Okay? And the former called the latter little prick. Here the former means the mountain and the latter means the squirrel. So the mountain called the squirrel little prick. Here the mountain is very arrogant due to its massive size or scale. That's why the mountain mocks the tiny squirrel by calling it little prick. Okay? And in the first line, here we see a figure of speech called personification. A personification is a figure of speech in which human qualities are given to non-living things or objects or animals. Okay? So here the mountain and the squirrel, as if they are capable of talking to each other or one another. Okay? So here human qualities have been given to the non-living entities. Okay? Or even though the squirrel is a living entity, but it's an animal. Here the squirrel doesn't know how to speak, but in this poem it knows because it's making a debate with the mountain. So both of them act like human beings. I hope this is clear. Then Ban replied. Here Ban means the squirrel. Ban represents the squirrel. Let's see what the Ban or the squirrel replies. You are doubtless very big, So the squirrel confesses or admits the size of the mountain, that the mountain is very big in size. Okay, you are doubtless very big. Here you means the mountain. But all sorts of things and weather must be taken in together to make up a year and a sphere. But all sorts of things, it means all sorts of living and non-living entities are indispensable to create a whole year and a complete universe. For example, weather. Okay, weather, it's a part of nature, right? So nature is important, animals are important, human beings are important, squirrel, mountain, whatever it is, everything is necessary to create a complete universe. Okay, so the reply of the squirrel is very logical, that all sorts of things are necessary or must be taken together to make up a year and a sphere. Okay, and I think it no disgrace. So here the squirrel doesn't feel or doesn't think that it's a shame for it, or it's a shame for him or her, whatever it is. Okay, because the squirrel doesn't think that it's a shame that he or the squirrel is a, what can I say, a smaller entity compared to the mountain. Okay, to occupy my place, if I am not so large as you, you are not so small as I. So here is a comparison, okay, between the squirrel and the mountain. So the squirrel is clearly saying that you are not so small as I. On the other hand, I am also not so big as you. Okay, and not half so spry. See, just point out, I mean, just look at the word or term spry. Here spry means agility, active, lively, animated. So the squirrel is saying that you are not so lively as I. You are not so lively as I, or so animated as I. Okay, I will not deny you make a very pretty squirrel track. On the other hand, the squirrel is praising the mountain. It's saying that the mountain makes a very good or smooth, squirrel track or path through which the squirrel, or down the path, the squirrel can easily move. Okay, talents differ, all is well and wisely put. Okay, talents differ. On the one hand, the squirrel represents what? Wisdom, agility. On the other hand, the mountain represents power, authority. So talents differ. Okay, everything is necessary, right? All is well and wisely put, and therefore, okay, we should not look down upon anyone or anything based on their physical attributes or status. We should respect everything in this world. Now let's see the last two lines of this poem. If I cannot carry forests on my back, neither can you crack a nut. So on the one hand, the squirrel confesses its fault, that I can't carry a big forest on my back because I am not so big as you. But you can't also crack or break a nut. Okay, You can't also move just like I do. Okay, so everything is necessary. So here we see another, what can I say, literary devices, another literary device, that is metaphor. Okay, a metaphor is a figure of speech in which an implied or implicit comparison is made between two distinct or different things. Okay, here when the mountain says little pig to the squirrel, so here it's an example of a metaphor. Okay, on the other hand, symbolism, I have already said that the mountain symbolizes, okay, authority, power, and the squirrel symbolizes or represents smallness, wisdom, agility. So litotes, here we see a literary device, litotes. Okay, a litotes is a figure of speech in which a positive statement is expressed by negating its opposite. Here, if I am not so large as you, you are not so small as I. So this, in this line, we see this literary device. So this is all about this video. Okay, and if the video is truly effective, please stay in touch or keep in touch, and never forget to share a like and to do subscribe to my channel. Thank you.